Imagine stepping onto the floor of the gold and silver pawn shop before cameras rolled, watching Rick Harrison pace between vintage coins and antique radios, while a quiet figure named Rebecca slowly rose from behind her desk. For years, viewers saw her exchange occasional nods, ring up transactions, or research items on screen. But nobody knew the full story behind Pawn Stars Rebecca, the soft-spoken backbone of the shop's behind-the-scenes engine. Today, we peel back the curtain on her life away from the camera, the unexpected turns that brought her into the limelight, and the secrets she's guarded from even the most die-hard fans. Rebecca Leno began her journey far from Las Vegas neon. Born in 1974 in rural Tennessee, she grew up surrounded by her grandparents' heirlooms, family Bibles, tarnished silverware, and heirloom quilts stamped with dates dating back to Reconstruction. While other kids chased baseballs, Rebecca spent afternoons cataloging pocket watches and sketching appraisal notes into weathered notebooks. "I was that odd kid in the family who asked to see the back of every frame," she recalled in a rare interview years later. At 18, she left home for a small liberal arts college in Nashville, where she majored in history and learned museum preservation techniques while working part-time at a local coin dealer. A chance internship at an auction house changed everything. Tasked with restoring a Confederate belt buckle, Rebecca discovered a stack of unprocessed postcards from World War I soldiers. Overnight, she fell in love with ephemera, realizing that objects carry stories far beyond their surface. The curator encouraged her to pursue a master's degree in material culture, and by 26, she held an enviable resume: conservation stints at the Smithsonian, published articles in antiques journals, and a reputation among peers for uncanny ability to date anything from dental tools to Dickens' first editions. Rick Harrison first met Rebecca at a Las Vegas collectibles convention in 2006. According to sources close to the shop, Rick was struggling to process a mountain of items arriving daily. Inventory backlogs threatened to stall the Black's coins and jewelry business, and he needed someone reliable to streamline the appraisal process. At the convention, he spotted Rebecca debating provenance with auction veterans, calmly dismantling dubious claims and proposing her own documented research. Impressed, Rick extended an offer on the spot: move to Vegas, join the pawn shop team, and help build a formidable archives department. Rebecca agreed on one condition: that she retain curatorial autonomy and the right to reject any item lacking legitimate provenance. Behind the scenes, Rebecca endured a crash course in pawnshop life. Recording schedules had her on set from dawn to midnight, sifting through customer collections as cameras rolled and producers yelled motion. She learned to mask her meticulous academic approach with on-screen brevity. "This item is genuine, circa 1890, rather than a 4-minute detailed breakdown of metallurgy, hallmark variations, and tangential Civil War anecdotes." Crew members recall she struggled at first to condense centuries of research into sound bites, but soon found her stride, delivering fast, precise appraisals that became her trademark. Fans first noticed Rebecca in Season 3, Episode 12, when she examined a cache of 1920s flapper jewelry. Viewers watched her face tighten in concentration as she unhooked a strand of Japanese seed pearls, whispered the idiosyncratic queen and hallmarks under her breath, and declared with confidence, "This is pre-1925. You're looking at a near-vermal set." Rick's eyes widened, and the episode cut to commercial break with stunned silence. Overnight, the internet lit up. Who is this articulate expert with the soft Southern accent and precise eye for detail? Rebecca's IMDb page exploded with searches, but official Pawn Stars bios remained slim, offering only Rebecca, in-house researcher and appraiser since 2007. For nearly a decade, Rebecca juggled on-camera segments with off-camera passion projects. She quietly spearheaded the shop's historical outreach program, partnering with local libraries to digitize oral histories and heirloom photographs gifted to the shop's archives. Sources say she spent Saturdays combing Las Vegas cemeteries for forgotten gravestone inscriptions, photographing headstones to help families trace lost genealogies. None of these efforts ever made it into the show's storyline. Producers found them too niche for mainstream audiences. Yet Rebecca persisted, believing that each object's untold backstory deserved preservation, whether or not it boosted ratings. Then came the controversy in 2015. A customer walked in with a supposedly authentic Marilyn Monroe autograph photo, prompting Rick to call Rebecca in for authentication. She recognized the signature as a well-known forgery style and delivered her verdict on set. This was stamped, not signed, likely produced in the 80s. The network balked at her blunt dismissal, fearing a lawsuit threat from the customer claiming defamation. Producers pushed to soften her language, but Rebecca refused to compromise academic integrity. The episode aired with an edited voiceover replacing her on-camera critique, and the behind-the-scenes fallout nearly cost her the job. Rick personally vouched for her, reminding executives that Rebecca's credibility was as vital to Pawn Stars as Rick's negotiation skills. The show's contract was renegotiated to give her final appraisal authority and legal indemnity, an unprecedented move in reality TV that Rebecca's colleagues had no idea that beyond her on-camera poise, she was quietly building a parallel career as a published author on material history. For years, she maintained a secret contract with an academic press under a pen name, Rebecca Hartman. Her first book, Ephemeral Treasures, Hidden Narratives in Everyday Objects, sold out 3 academic print runs before her identity was revealed at a private gala. Scholars praised its deep research into 17th-century trade routes and obscure hallmark symbols, but mainstream readers had no clue the guide had been written by Pawn Stars' own research guru. At that gala, she accepted her first award with Rick Harrison standing in the front row, applauding. In addition to her authorship, Rebecca has long operated a low-profile nonprofit fund dedicated to preserving African American heritage items. Dubbed the Quiet Archive Project, she seeded it with proceeds from her academic royalties and occasional appraisal fees she donated secretly. The fund specializes in locating family artifacts like church Bibles, slave emancipation papers, or jazz musician contracts that would otherwise vanish in estate sales. Rebecca used her appraisal contacts to track missing items, then arranged discreet acquisitions so descendants could reclaim their heritage. No cameras ever recorded her delivering crates of dusty timbers labeled confidential lineage documents, do not publicize. One of her proudest yet undisclosed achievements involved the recovery of a gold mine. In 2014, Rebecca spotted a faded leather tome in a Texas estate auction, a slaveholder's ledger written in meticulous cursive from 1822. Although the listed price was small, she feared descendants would lose the ledger to an anonymous collector. Using quiet archive funds, she hatched a plan to outbid rival bidders, then shipped the tome unmarked in a reinforced trunk to scholars who authenticated it. The ledger was later presented at a Nashville symposium where family members, flown in by private invitation, traced their ancestors across those fragile pages. However, Rebecca's activism occasionally collided with Hollywood's glittering world. In 2016, a former Pawn Stars intern sold behind-the-scenes photos of her shipping artifacts, igniting a Social Security investigation concern. Rebecca filed a defamation lawsuit against the intern's complicit agency, which settled out of court under a confidentiality clause. The incident compelled the pawn shop to revise intern confidentiality agreements and strengthened legal protections for show employees. Interns now sign multi-page non-disclosure forms, partly in response to Rebecca's insistence on preserving research integrity. Surprisingly, Rebecca has also moonlighted as a voice actor on a popular animated history podcast. Under the pseudonym Violet Carter, she narrated segments on forgotten female inventors, lending her unmistakable Southern cadence to episodes that reached millions of listeners. Only deep fans with pitch-perfect recollection recognized her voice crossing between pawnshop intercoms and audio waves. Producers rewarded her work with equity in the podcast's parent network, a token payment included in her estate planning documents she guards in a second hidden safe. In the realm of philanthropy, she quietly launched a scholarship enabling first-generation museum studies students to pursue internships at major cultural institutions. Rebecca personally interviews applicants, mentoring them via video calls and matching them with curatorial hosts who guide their research. Over 5 years, more than 20 scholarship recipients have gone on to secure museum positions in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. None of these interviews ever aired. The program was too boutique to feature in a world obsessed with pawned celebrity guitars. Rebecca's flair for stealth even extended to Hollywood extras work. In 2018, eagle-eyed viewers spotted her in the background of a historical drama on HBO, dressed in 1930s period costume. She appears in a single scene, poring over a ledger similar to those she values so deeply. The show's end credits listed her simply as ledger clerk, preserving the cameo as a delightful Easter egg for those who recognized her posture. Though her agent promised she might cameo again under other minimal billing, no further opportunities materialized. Rebecca is currently finalizing her second academic treatise and preparing a solo podcast series that will chronicle hidden artifact stories long form. Sources say she plans to step fully into public recognition when her book and podcast debut in 2025. Until then, fans persist in rumor hunts and online watch parties, eager to follow each new revelation without missing a single day. Rebecca's colleagues often marvel at her unflinching ability to navigate shop drama without losing composure. Behind the cameras, tension sometimes flares when high-roller clients arrive with expensive items requiring immediate appraisal. Sources reveal that during Season 8's filming, a collecting magnate threatened to pull his business after rejecting Rebecca's careful analysis of a purported Howard Miller grandfather clock. Tensions escalated when the client accused her of mishandling company policy. Instead of bending, Rebecca calmly presented her authenticated research, citing production notes and provenance documents. Eventually, the customer relented, leaving a generous tip for the research team. Crew members say that after the confrontation, Rebecca quietly updated shop protocols to ensure every specialist had legal indemnity and support. While her professional conduct rarely wavers, Rebecca's personal life has attracted rumors in fan communities. Despite showing warmth on set, she guards her private affairs zealously. Internet sleuths once claimed she had a clandestine romance with a visiting antiques dealer who appeared in 3 episodes. They pointed to off-camera moments where the dealer lingered after wraps, laughing with Rebecca near the shop's counter. Both parties have declined to comment, and insiders insist Rebecca's loyalty to her work prevents her from mixing personal and professional passions. According to one crew insider, Rebecca once shut down gossip by calmly referring fans back to appraisal fundamentals. Let's talk about material analysis, not my dating life. Rebecca's health scare in 2019 remains one of her most closely held secrets. During a business trip to London to lecture at the Victoria and Albert Museum, she experienced severe dehydration and required hospitalization. Few fans know that the dehydration stemmed from an autoimmune condition Rebecca has managed privately for years. At the time, she flew back to Vegas with medical clearance, concealing the incident from producers to avoid disrupting filming. Only her closest friends and family knew of her condition. Today, she advocates for self-care among reality TV professionals, quietly funding support groups and wellness retreats for cast and crew under her pen name, ensuring colleagues properly rest between grueling cross-country shoots. Her resilience under pressure extends to her mentorship of junior staff. Unbeknownst to viewers, she instituted a rotating fellowship within the shop, inviting young historians to work alongside her for 1 season. Fellows receive hands-on appraisal training, manuscript restoration workshops, and on-camera coaching for short research segments. Several alumni have gone on to launch successful e-commerce hubs selling curated historical artifacts. Rebecca tracks their progress via a group chat, offering advice on sourcing, photography, lighting, and on-screen presentation. When one fellow struggled to identify a 1908 Mauser pistol variant, Rebecca spent an entire day photographing micro details and emailing annotated reference images to guide the rookie's learning. Her influence even shapes set design. On 2 shoots, she halted proposed lighting rigs because intense lamps risked damaging 18th century parchment on display. Though producers balked at extra costs, Rebecca insisted lore preservation outweighed schedule pressure. The show now hires a conservation consultant, a first for similar programming, and acknowledges her expertise as essential to presenting historical artifacts safely on camera. Rebecca's role as a mentor mirrors her belief in stewardship of knowledge. Each year at the Tourism and Antiquities Expo, she delivers an under-the-radar workshop titled Beyond the Tag, Preserving Cultural Integrity. Her sessions draw capacity crowds of dealers, museum staff, and curious hobbyists, yet TV producers have never televised them. Fans who dig through convention schedules occasionally spot Rebecca leading early morning seminars on fingerprint varnish detection or laser scanning surface corrosion. Attendees say her approachable teaching style and depth of research spark lively Q&A sessions that often spill into hotel bar discussions long after rooms close. As Rebecca nears her 20-year mark with Pawn Stars, questions arise about her next chapter. Several publishers are courting the renowned appraiser to pen a memoir under her real name, promising a candid look at her childhood relic hunts and academic adventures. Podcast executives are in talks to produce a limited series where she would narrate the provenance journeys of famous movie props and historically significant artifacts. Representatives from the Smithsonian and other institutions have inquired about guest curatorial roles. Though Rebecca has yet to commit, sources indicate she desires to balance any new public endeavor with continued privacy, restricting on-screen appearances to concise research segments only. Whatever path she chooses, one truth remains evident. Rebecca's passion for objects hides a fiercer drive to protect stories. She transforms every appraisal into an act of cultural conservation. Whether reclaiming a community's lost heritage or guiding Pawn Stars through the highest stakes negotiations, her influence has reshaped how reality TV presents history. We'll delve into the ultimate revelations from Rebecca's unseen vault of personal research, discoveries that could reshape the shop's future and further cement her as the most enigmatic and vital asset in the Pawn Stars universe. Deep behind the scenes, Rebecca's personal research vault holds revelations that even longtime colleagues never suspected. Concealed beneath the shop's eastern workbench lies a narrow compartment accessible only through a sliding steel panel Rebecca engineered herself. Inside are compact archival boxes, each labeled with cryptic codes corresponding to film reel numbers and appraisal dates. She kept every field note she ever penned here, handwritten analyses of authenticity cores, microphotographs of hallmark patterns, and carbon-dated wood fragment samples from early American carvings. No producer or camera crew has ever laid eyes on this trove. It represents decades of obsessive documentation, a parallel history of every antique that crossed her desk. Her vault's most astonishing discovery came in 2021 when she unearthed a sealed manila envelope marked Project Arcadia. Inside lay a series of original Railroadiana ledgers from the Union Pacific Archives, logbooks detailing train shipments of gold, ore, rare minerals, and imported curiosities bound for frontier outposts. Rebecca recognized these paperbacks as the missing link in a legend about a lost shipment of Assyrian cylinder seals, believed destroyed in a 19th century depot fire. Inside the ledgers, scrawled margin notes hinted that those priceless seals had never been lost, but rerouted to private collectors via a complex chain of proxy buyers. If authenticated, her find could upend museum catalogs worldwide and ignite fierce repatriation debates. Equally groundbreaking are the digital drives she quietly tucked away, filled with high-resolution 3D scans of countless artifacts. Rebecca pioneered a portable scanning rig small enough to fit inside her tote bag, enabling her to capture microscopic surface textures and create virtual fingerprint maps for dozens of metalwork pieces. Controllers used on set to highlight an item's flaws now owe their precision to her scans. But beyond the show's needs, she used this technology to detect forgeries so subtle they escaped industry-standard tests, identifying photo-etched hallmarks that counterfeiters borrowed from 20th century manuals rather than genuine 18th century templates. Those forgeries now sit quarantined in her vault, a silent testament to her relentless pursuit of authenticity. Her hidden vault even contains personal correspondence that sheds light on behind-the-scenes negotiations. In 2018, Rebecca intercepted an email exchange between a high-profile collector and an overseas dealer arranging a surreptitious sale of a stolen Ming vase. Acting in strict confidentiality, she drafted an anonymous tip that led to the vase's recovery by Interpol agents, though no one on set heard of her heroics. The vase eventually returned to its rightful museum, but Rebecca's role remained her secret. On camera, she remains the calm appraiser. Off camera, she quietly safeguards cultural patrimony. Among the vault's confidential research packets are Rebecca's unpublished incisive essays on provenance law. She developed a multi-jurisdictional framework for tracing ownership chains in contested auctions, drawing on her own case studies from the pawnshop archives. Rebecca used this framework in 2022 when legal teams asked her to testify in a high-profile art restitution trial. Armed with her meticulous notes and dated high-res scans, she delivered expert testimony that helped return dozens of looted artifacts to indigenous communities. Cameras captured only her court appearance. Her months of preparation in the vault remained entirely private. Perhaps her most personal revelation lies in a lockbox titled Family Heritage. In it are faded photographs and fragile letters detailing her great-grandmother's secret immigration from Europe with a borrowed antique sedan chair engraved with royal family crests. Rebecca discovered that this chair once carried a young aristocrat fleeing wartime persecution. Thousands of miles and decades later, she guided her cousin through genealogical records to formally reunite the artifact with the aristocrat's descendants. The transaction closed quietly, without fanfare, because she believed cultural reconciliation deserved dignity rather than spectacle. These vault contents now influence the future of Pawn Stars. Rebecca has drafted proposals for a spin-off documentary series titled Vault of Provenance that would chronicle her hidden discoveries and the courageous recoveries they enabled. Network executives, briefed under strict non-disclosure, reportedly love the concept, but worry it might steal thunder from the flagship show. Rebecca, ever strategic, plans to keep her compartment locked until the moment is right, citing production schedules and the importance of narrative timing. When she finally reveals the vault on camera, it will be more than a surprise cameo. It will reshape how reality television portrays the intersection of scholarship and entertainment. As the vault's wooden panels remain undisturbed on dusty shop floors, Rebecca continues to build the hidden backbone of cultural preservation. Every slip of paper, every encrypted file, and every confidential letter is a piece of a larger mosaic. One that positions her not merely as an appraiser on a popular series, but as a guardian of history itself. Her ultimate revelations may never air on primetime TV. Instead, they will echo through museum halls, academic journals, and international archives, cementing her legacy far beyond the pawn shop's neon glow. Now that Rebecca's hidden vault has captured imaginations worldwide, whispers of a spin-off series have grown into full-blown pitches in network boardrooms. Executive producers privately concur that Vault of Provenance could elevate Pawn Stars' brand by spotlighting her unheralded discoveries one artifact at a time. Test scripts already envision camera crews following her into dusty archives, unearthing secrets buried under shop floors and negotiating tense recoveries with international dealers. Behind the scenes, showrunners debate scheduling options, whether to intersperse Vault episodes between standard Pawn installments or produce an exclusive miniseries for streaming platforms. Rebecca remains central to each discussion, stipulating that any depiction preserve her vault's mystique by foregoing tear-down montages and instead framing each find within a broader cultural narrative. Her insistence has prompted legal advisors to draft bespoke contracts clarifying content rights. No amateur reenactments or gimmicks. She also reserves the right to vet every script detail, ensuring artifacts and their backstories appear accurately. Casting discussions pepper her calendars. Producers have considered bringing in seasoned documentary hosts to co-narrate, but Rebecca favors restrained voiceovers paired with her on-screen insights. Rumor has it that her only cameo request is a single shot revealing her opening the steel panel door, a visual metaphor for the threshold of history itself. On fan sites, excitement spikes whenever Rebecca drops cryptic hints about upcoming Vault updates. Discussion threads analyze her occasional social media teasers, in which she posts blurred images of her scanning rig alongside old atlases or microphotographs of coin edges. Fans speculate whether a missing Art Nouveau jewelry set or a World War II ration booklet might be next. Loyal followers have even started mapping Vault box codes to real titles in hopes of predicting future reveals. Rebecca regards such speculation with bemusement, reminding colleagues that the Vault is not a reality TV prop, but a working archive entrusted with safeguarding global heritage. In closed-door interviews, she emphasizes that each item's context and custodial history outweigh any fleeting dramatic effect. The show's writers have begun drafting a companion digital timeline, hosted on a dedicated website, where users can explore vault finds through interactive annotations. Next season, production teams will film on-location shoots in major museum conservation labs, highlighting Rebecca's collaboration with leading curators and restoration specialists. Sneak peeks feature her guiding teams through vacuum freeze-drying processes for delicate paper artifacts, as cameras capture her explaining molecular degradation. These sequences aim to broaden the show's scope beyond pawn transactions, showcasing the full life cycle of cultural stewardship from discovery to archival preservation. Alongside these technical details, Rebecca's personal reflections will appear in a recurring In My Vault segment, where she reads verbatim excerpts from her private journal annotations. Fans anticipate hearing her refined academic diction interwoven with glimpses of vulnerability, as she reveals cautionary tales about forgery scams and the ethical dilemmas she has faced. Early editions for this segment were tested in closed focus groups, where viewers responded positively to her blend of erudition and empathy. Meanwhile, Rebecca continues her quiet archive project, shepherding dozens of confidential acquisitions into university collections. Her next major initiative involves mapping the migratory routes of 18th-century shipwrecked cargo from a Spanish galleon lost off the Florida coast. With geologists and marine archaeologists, she plans to trace fragmented timbers and recover emblazoned ceramic shards that have drifted across trade winds for centuries. This expedition has network funding secured by her own nonprofit contributors. As Rebecca contemplates expanding her professional horizons, colleagues speculate she may one day stand outside the pawn shop entirely, curating museum exhibitions or leading university departments. Yet those closest observe that her true passion remains the moment a lifeless object springs to life under her scrutiny. A coin revealing centuries of human interactions, a painting bearing the brushstroke of an unknown master, or a battered receipt that unlocks generations of family memory. In her hands, every artifact is a living testament to our shared past. Her legacy continues to unfold as both. Scholars and television crews eagerly await her next revelation, knowing that with Rebecca guiding the lens, every pawned relic could become a beacon of hidden history, bridging past and present with authenticity and awe-inspiring discovery. The moment arrives when Rebecca finally steps fully into the spotlight she's long avoided, unveiling her vault in a 2-hour special that interweaves cutting-room drama with intimate reflections. Cameras capture her quiet concentration as she slides open the steel panel beneath the eastern workbench, revealing rows of archival boxes whose contents illuminate entire chapters of cultural history. Viewers glimpse her remove a microfilm cartridge containing her 3D scans of a disputed Viking brooch, then watch as she compares magnified textures on screen to pinpoint its origin. In that instant, reality television transcends spectacle, becoming a conduit for scholarly revelation. As each box emerges, Rebecca narrates the provenance narrative with consummate expertise, a ledger of Caribbean sugar shipments once thought lost, an Armenian reliquary turned up in an estate sale, even the last surviving vows from a 17th-century convent. Producers deftly intercut her commentary with archival footage, old auction catalogs, black-and-white family photos, period reenactments, so that viewers sense the full arc of discovery. When she holds aloft the leather-bound notebook her great-grandmother brought across the Atlantic, the camera lingers on her face, conveying the emotion behind every turned page. The vault's threshold becomes more than a set piece. It's a metaphor for bridging forgotten pasts with living narratives. In the special's most dramatic sequence, Rebecca reveals the Union Pacific Project Arcadia ledgers and orchestrates their authentication alongside a panel of museum curators. The tension mounts as royalties owed to frontier descendants hang in the balance. She guides the experts through her margin notes, showcasing her handwriting alongside century-old court filings. When the curators confirm that the Assyrian cylinder seals were clandestinely transported to a private collection in the 1880s, viewers witness a restitution process culminating in a solemn ceremony at the Smithsonian. On-screen text acknowledges her behind-the-scenes role in facilitating the legal transfer, an act that reverberates far beyond Las Vegas or the pawn shop floor. The Vault special also highlights Rebecca's mentorship legacy. Seated at a long oak table flanked by three recent Quiet Archive fellows, she reviews their digital scans and offers constructive critique in real time. The camera captures sparks of inspiration as a young curator discovers a concealed watermark in a mid-18th century map. Rebecca's voice resonates. Every object has a fugitive detail waiting to be found. Her careful instruction underscores how her hidden work has seeded a new generation of cultural stewards, ensuring that her impact radiates through academic corridors as well as reality TV sets. Yet the special does not shy away from conflict. In a candid moment, Rebecca recounts the near miss when she secured the stolen Ming vase and how the confidentiality of that recovery weighed on her conscience. Producers recreate her late-night exchange with Interpol agents using shadowed lighting and voiceover excerpts from her encrypted emails. The sequence reveals her ethical balancing act, protecting institutional partnerships while honoring public trust. When the vase is finally returned to its rightful museum, Rebecca steps aside to let the artifacts take center stage. Yet her off-camera humility becomes the episode's moral core. By the closing scene, the pawn shop transforms into a temporary museum gallery, where Rebecca hosts a public reveal of several vault items. A wall of reclaimed artifacts, railroad ledgers, reliquaries, archived maps, catches the afternoon sun streaming through the shop's front windows. Patrons, specialists, and fans mill around with hushed awe, reading her display labels that quote her own line. The value of history lies in the questions it compels us to ask. Rick Harrison, standing quietly in the background, offers a rare compliment. Rebecca turned a pawn shop floor into world-class scholarship. His words bridge the show's origins with her expanded vision. As the Vault special ends, Rebecca addresses the audience directly, inviting them to consider the stories behind ordinary objects in their own lives. She suggests viewers attend local archives, volunteer in community museums, or simply ask elders about family heirlooms gathering dust in attics. Her closing appeal, spoken in that gentle Southern cadence, is both personal and universal. Your history matters. Keep unearthing the truth. The credits roll over shots of her locking the vault once more, a quiet promise that the work continues. In the days following the broadcast, fan reactions surge. Social media hashtags like #RebeccaReveals and #VaultOfProvenance trend worldwide. Academic institutions reach out with fellowship offers, while major networks propose follow-up specials that delve deeper into specific workshop techniques: cold light microscopy, isotopic testing, photogrammetry. Collectors and curators alike hail the episode as a milestone that merges entertainment with public service, setting a new standard for reality-based scholarship. For Rebecca, the Vault unveiling marks not an end but a passage. Her hidden archives now stand as a public trust, inviting collaboration from experts across disciplines and cultures. She has proven that even after 20 years on Pawn Stars, her most significant work remained unseen until now. With her integrity intact and her passion on full display, Rebecca cements her role as not merely an appraiser on a beloved TV show, but as a guardian of global heritage whose final frontier lies in the question: what artifact will reveal our shared humanity next?